Hey guys, it's Evan the Cat King, back finally with another video. Today I'm starting a new bit of a series maybe. I'm doing a what if total drama video. Today is this is a what if that I've thought about for a while now. What if Leshawna never went on the reward got the reward in action where she went and trash talked all the other competitors in the game? That's something that I was wondering. That's a what if that I've been wanting to see done for a while, and because nobody has done it yet, as far as I know, I thought I'd just do it myself. So in this episode, I'm doing my first of possibly this is the only one of what if total drama episodes. Today, in this video, in this what if, in this episode, what if in the episode one flew over the cuckoos, that's the episode where Leshawna won the reward and went on to trash talk everybody at the spa with her cousin. So instead, she doesn't go on the reward. She does win the reward, but instead it's a team reward. Instead, it's a reward for everyone. It's just a different reward. It's not. It's just changing the reward. What the reward is doesn't really matter. But this is my thoughts on what would happen if she didn't become untrustworthy, if she didn't become hated by her teammates, if she didn't become too, But anyways, here we go. We're gonna kick things off with the first episode that we need to discuss here is the horror challenge. Now, this episode won't change because none of what happens involves Leshawna and the reward. In this episode, her team doesn't find out about her lying about to get the reward until the next episode, and also they didn't find out. They didn't see her trash talking them until a while later when Courtney came back. So we do technically need to talk about the horror episode because technically she technically got the reward before it, an episode before, but at the same time, it'll stay the same. The Screaming Gaffers are gonna win the challenge only for DJ to kind of quit. He's gonna quit still. Leshawna not going on the reward challenge is not gonna change that. Sadly, DJ's staying out right here. Oh, and also, if you're wondering why there's no one in, the soap opera challenge, because apparently that's what the acting challenge, I guess, that's where Izzy got out. She returned in the prison episode, so she's just not there anymore. Okay, so next up is the war episode. So in the war episode, where, once again, nothing will change, except for the fact that the Gaffers are on better terms than they were before. It won't stop Duncan and Harold from winning the challenge for their team. In the end, it's the same outcome with Izzy going home because she overdid it with the explosions. So in this episode, it's gonna be the exact same. Just instead of everybody just absolutely being at each other's throats, they'll tolerate each other a little bit better. That's all that changes here. All right, now this is where things start to change. The next one is the bank heist episode. First off, this is the episode where Courtney returns. So there's that, and also in this episode, Leshawna gets left behind by her team because, well, they don't really. It's stated that that Duncan says that he doesn't need Leshawna or bank robbing stuff to get out, but in reality, it's because they just don't care about Leshawna. In this version, instead of of Heather and Harold just goofing off and fighting over who gets to try and unlock it, and while Duncan just does nothing, they will actually work together as a team. They don't all hate each other. That's the one thing. I think the stuff with Leshawna caused the animosity in the team, and without her lying and about getting the reward, without that happening, they'll actually kind of care. They'll care enough to try and get her out, and that'll lead to... And with that, they'll all actually work together rather than just being at each other's throats the whole time. And now, at this point, I think that means that they are, in fact, going to be done with the challenge faster. I think they'd actually be able to figure out how to open the vault. I feel like Duncan would, along with Harold and Heather all working together, would be able to figure it out before three people who have about the same IQ as a potato. So then after that, they won't have to make like a pit stop at the trailers in order to get can't think right now. In order to make their own bank robbing equipment, they already have it. So instead, they'll get it faster. But there will be someone left behind, and that is Owen here. Owen is in this challenge is going to be left behind, not because the Grips don't care about him, but because Duncan, Heather, Harold, and Leshawna, the gaffers, are able to complete the challenge so fast that they don't even have time to get Owen out of there. And Owen is just left behind because they need to move on with the challenge, and they just don't bother to let Owen out. It's just that much. Chris doesn't care at this point. He's fine with letting Owen just not be there for a day. So then Courtney will still go with the Grips. And now, with this one, I think it will stay the same. The Grips will lose the bank heisting challenge. Without Owen, they won't break the tires. That's one thing. But even if they were able to actually build the cart, Duncan would have built it before Courtney could have. Justin wouldn't have really helped. Still wouldn't have helped. Lindsay wouldn't have really... I don't think Lindsay or Beth would have been much help. They wouldn't have really cared. And then that would have caught, and even if Courtney was able to actually complete it normally, she would have just ran out of gas just like Duncan. So if anything, yeah, it would have just been the same. Gaffers would have won. But now things are going to change here, because in this one, instead, Owen's just not going to be Owen here is not going to be at the elimination ceremony, and he's just not gonna go home because nobody's thinking about him, because they honestly forgot about his existence. And that's where, instead of all four of them voting for Courtney, I think Justin is gonna go and talk to Courtney, mention the fact that, well, Beth and Lindsay, they're gonna agree on the fact that Beth and Lindsay are just, they're both not very wise. But they are, as with them being so close, they should probably split them up. And they agree that, well, Beth, yes, she is smarter. That also makes her a bigger target. And without her guidance, Lindsay might be easier to eliminate or manipulate later on in the season. So they choose to eliminate Beth here. So instead of Beth getting just completely undeserved finale, she gets out here, and Owen keeps going. Now, for the next challenge, being the sports challenge, again, this challenge is another one that won't really change. The only difference is that Owen is here instead of Beth. The first round would go the same, with Harold winning the boxing match over Lindsay. Then Owen, I think, will beat Heather, because if the birdie doesn't hit his racket, it'll just bounce off of his body and ricochet back to the other side. I feel like if he was there, I feel like they'd do that for comedy's sake. And then that would lead to Owen winning. Owen's gonna win the challenge, making it a bit of a 1-1. And then, of course, Courtney will still beat Duncan, and that'll be funny. And then Leshawna will beat Justin, and that'll also be funny, because Justin gets hurt, and that's funny. So then it will still go down to the cheering competition, and that'll basically stay the same. Because even with Owen instead being there, and maybe the gaffers not disagreeing as much, I'm sure Courtney was the one who came up with the idea of cheering for Chris, so they would win anyways. It doesn't matter what the gaffers would have cheered for if they were working together. The Chris cheer would have just won the challenge anyways. And now, this time, there's no reason for anybody other than Heather to be going home. Because nobody hates Leshawna. And in this universe, Heather and Leshawna actually don't become friends. That's another difference for this episode. So then we have reached the merge. There's a bit of a difference here in the merge. Actually, no, there's one difference. Owen is here instead of Beth. That's the difference. So, now we go on to the superhero challenge. Now, here we go. The superhero challenge, this is originally where Leshawna got eliminated. But this time, things will be different. Now, first off, we have Owen here instead of Beth. But this isn't too important because he wouldn't do well in this challenge anyways. He even if he were to come, I feel like he might be good at coming up with a good superhero. I mean, he probably would have been a better version of Captain Alberta. But, he would have been able to get better Chinook Wind, but he wouldn't have done good on, like, the superhero obstacle course. I would seriously, I think he would definitely probably not even get past the first part of jumping over the building. So, there's no way he was gonna win it anyways. So Courtney still wins invincibility, but now her, Justin, and Duncan will still vote for Leshawna. Her, Duncan, and Justin. Now, this time, Justin is not just, like, in an alliance with the dudes. Instead, this time, the guys' alliance doesn't even form because Owen is here and they outnumber the girls. So that's not even going to form, but Courtney currently has ties to both of them. Currently, Courtney and Duncan are going to work together because, well, of course they are. Even if they say that they still hate each other, they're gonna work together. And then Justin and Courtney have decided to work together after they worked together to get rid of Beth in the bank heist challenge, so they're all working together. Now, in this one, it's a bit different because the reason for Harold voting for Leshawna, Harold won't be in this alliance. He wouldn't be tempted to vote for Leshawna. He wouldn't be told to vote for Leshawna. Maybe I feel, if anything, Owen would be told to vote for Leshawna, but Harold would stay loyal to Leshawna. And the main reason he voted for Leshawna wasn't because he was manipulated. Well, yes, the manipulating had a lot to do with it, but the reason he eventually switched it from voting for Duncan to voting for Leshawna was because he wasn't sure if he could trust her. It was said that was how Courtney got him, but now to vote for her. But now with her not doing any of the things with her not going on that reward challenge, there's no reason for him to not trust her, meaning that he's not going to vote for Leshawna. And as much as Owen likes Duncan, him and Duncan are friends, I feel like Owen wouldn't vote with them. I don't think he likes Courtney enough to side with them, and he'll probably vote for Duncan, meaning that Duncan is out now. Meaning that the original two finalists are now both eliminated. So now we've got it I feel like this is a very different one. Alright, then we have the fairy tale challenge. In this episode, Courtney stays as the princess, because, I mean, I don't think Leshawna was getting that glass boot on her foot. But this time, Harold, Justin, and Leshawna are the ones that make it past the bridge, with Lindsay and Owen both breaking the bridge. So in this version, this time, instead of Harold helping Justin beat Duncan, it's actually going to be Courtney helping Justin beat Harold and Leshawna. She wants them both to have invincibility, because currently, Justin is her last ally. instead of her doing all the stuff that she did to try and get rid of Justin, she's going to be doing all the stuff to try and keep Justin around. Because why would she want to get rid of Justin? There's no point in her trying to get rid of Justin now that she's been, well... there's just no point in her trying to get rid of Justin. He's her last ally. And she knows that, yeah, she won't have invincibility forever, so she needs to make sure that she has allies, and Justin is like the last one she currently has. So she's gonna give Justin the strategy he needs to beat Harold and Leshawna. If anything, I think she'll interfere with the challenge, take off one of her glass boots and chuck it down at, like, Harold or Leshawna or something, and that'll cause the giant animatronic to fall, allowing for Justin to win. But then it'll all just be a waste of time because they realize that, yeah, it's actually, the immunity is actually went for Justin and Courtney sword fighting, and Courtney wins it, and Justin gets voted off by the remaining contestants. So, now we're on to the rock and roll challenge. And we have a pretty different final five, I'd say, well, yeah, it's a pretty different final five, because technically Lindsay wasn't in the final five. Because it was originally, in this episode, the rock and roll challenge, Owen would have returned here. But because Owen is still in the competition now, he's not going to return as Chris's mole to get, as he put it, as Chris's chaos creator. So instead, they're all just kind of in the rock and roll challenge. Now, so now instead of there just being 6 competitors, there's only 5 competitors, which I think works better, because that means now we actually don't have to do a double elimination at the Animal Buddy Challenge. Now, even though Leshawna is here, Courtney's still going to win the challenge. There's no way. Leshawna, she's strong, but she isn't going to beat Courtney in that apartment destroying challenge. She may do as good as Duncan, even if she does as good as Duncan. She probably even wouldn't, so I think Courtney definitely is going to win this challenge still. And originally, Owen came back returned on this challenge. This time, he's getting eliminated at this challenge. The others see him as a threat because, well, he's kind of going through a very similar thing as he did in Island. He kind of got through by just being a likable dude, and they realized, yeah, he won last season, should probably make sure he gets out. And now that Courtney's can't vote for Courtney, might as well get rid of technically the second biggest threat in Owen, even if technically I feel like Leshawna would be a bigger threat than Owen. But it's Harold and Lindsay. They're going to vote for Owen over Leshawna. Anyways, plus, again, Owen is a threat because he won Season 1, so they will see him as a threat. Now, the next challenge is the Outer Space Challenge. The Outer Space Challenge is, again, originally there were 5, but now there's only 4. But, again, it'll work out in the end because then we don't have to eliminate 2 people at the Animal Buddy Challenge. So here we go. We have the episode here, and instead of, like, this actually having, like, a winner of, like, the first part where they're trying to spend the night in zero gravity, because now that Owen isn't there to, like, sabotage the rocket, they'll all just kind of make it, and they'll all make it. That's yeah, they'll all succeed, and that will cause there to be no winner of the first challenge. So instead, the order for the next part of the challenge, being the thing where they get spun around, is gonna be a random order. But in my universe, I'd say that Harold is still the first and Courtney is still the last one. But in this challenge, I think this is where Leshawna is gonna get her big moment. She's gonna see that Courtney has a good chance. It's gonna be Harold, Lindsay, her, and Courtney in the order. Harold does bad, Lindsay does, like, worse than him, and then Leshawna knows it's up to her, or else Courtney is gonna win. It's inevitable. So she's gonna pull her say uncle challenge thing that she did in the Island. She's gonna, like she did with the bear log rolling, she's gonna be determined to get rid of Courtney. She doesn't want Courtney making it past here, because then there's only one challenge left before the finale, and there's a good chance she could win that one as well. And because of that determination, she ends up winning the challenge, and that leads to Courtney getting booted here. Alright, so now, the final challenge before the finale. It is Harold, Lindsay, and Leshawna, all who were not originally in the Animal Buddy Challenge. So the Animal Buddy Challenge will be very similar. This time, with there only being 3, the shark will not be one of them. In this version, Leshawna will take the bear because she doesn't want Harold to take the bear or Lindsay to take the bear. She knows that she has the best. Leshawna, as much as she is determined to win, she doesn't really want to be mean about it. She doesn't really want to put Harold or Lindsay in danger. She's nice about that. She's friends with everybody. She knows that if anybody, she's log rolled with it. I feel like Harold will gravitate towards the chameleon, making him thinking that chameleons are really interesting with their color changing and wanting to say a bunch of stupid facts about it. And Lindsay will just be left with the raccoon. Now, in this challenge, Leshawna and Harold, they really want to be in the finale together. But now Lindsay has the raccoon. They have a bear and a chameleon. The chameleon just hides the whole challenge, and the bear is just kind of indifferent about the whole challenge. It's not very helpful. And if anything, it's just getting in their way. And in my opinion, like with Owen, they showed the bear actually being friendly. I don't think that would actually happen here. I feel as if Harold would talk too much, and somehow the bear would get annoyed by Harold talking, because that seems like something a bear would happen, and then it would probably chase them around, and they would get distracted. And of course, sorry. Lindsay will win the challenge because the raccoon will carry her to the end. And that will lead to, Lindsay winning in the end. Lindsay wins the Animal Buddy Challenge, and then it comes down to who is she gonna pick to come to the finale with her. In my opinion, she chooses Harold. Leshawna is definitely a bigger threat to her than Harold is. And then the winners are Lindsay and Harold. They all both get their own versions of the finale where they each win. And I think that this is an honest-to-God great season. I feel like, I don't know if I prefer this. Actually, I'd say, yeah, I do prefer this over the original. Having Beth, just having Beth not win makes me like this more. I would say that I would be upset about Duncan, but I'm happy that Leshawna made it further. I'm happy that Owen doesn't turn to the dark side and get eliminated for the first time because of some bull crap. But this is my what if Leshawna didn't talk trash and get the reward in that one challenge. I think that this makes a lot of sense. I feel as if Harold hadn't lost his trust in her, she would have made it a whole lot further because she would be still with, like, Harold and Lindsay. But let me know in the comments if there are any more what-if total drama things you want to see, if there are any more Who Would Win books you want me to make. If the next video will be Who Would Win Ultimate Cat Rumble. I'm done with it. I have been done with it for a little bit. I've been taking a bit of a break from YouTube for a little bit just because I had a lot going on. There's a new quarter of school started and I didn't want to fall behind right away. That's what caused me a lot of stress, but yeah, I won't get into that because who cares? You guys probably don't care about my how I'm doing at school unless you do, in case, well, I don't know. If you do, then you probably won't find out anyways, but anyways, I think I might do more what ifs. I of course will do some future episodes, of course. who would win Ultimate Cat Rumble, and, like, the final, like, 3 episodes of Random Number Generated, whatever the crap it is. Yeah, but, see you guys next time.